Good evening, everyone. Ross Bailey here, product specialist, line 6, based in the UK. How are we all? Hope everyone is safe and well. Let me know if you can hear me. Technology has failed me recently, so hopefully everything's working all okay. I'm forewarned. Hi from Jim. Hi from South Africa. Hi from the UK, Jim. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, hopefully audio's working. Here is some guitar. Awesome. Everything's working. This is a good thing. Hi Liam, how are you? Cool. HX Stomp XL in a pedal board. That's what we're going to be covering today, and I'm going to try, because the camera's there, but I'm looking at the screen there to try and keep an eye on comments. Oh yeah, loud and clear. Hi Scott. Hi Sean. Hello everybody. So yeah, we're going to talk today about building a pedal board around HX Stomp XL. Obviously it's a new thing. It's answered a lot of kind of things for me personally. I was using a fairly substantial pedal board, and then that shrunk down, but it was still big and still messy and still very heavy. And I was using HX Stomp. I didn't particularly want to get involved with extra switches and all of that stuff. So when Stomp XL came out, it was like, right, okay, this I can use. So we'll talk about kind of how I'm using it, the thought process behind the board I'm about to show you. And kind of basically how to dial it in, so how it responds to pedals in the loop, whether you should put stuff in the loop or not, and just kind of a few ideas basically on how to set up a pedal board with, and this will work obviously for HX Stomp as well. It will also work for HX Effects, and it'll even work for full Helix. The concept is the same, but with Stomp and Stomp XL designed to be kind of part of a pedal board. That's what we're going to be doing today. And a really cool thing with the command center, which we'll cover in a little while, which is, again, for me personally, it's an absolute lifesaver. So let's show you real quick. Hello, Nick from Italy. Right. There's the board. That's what we're looking at. The lighting is terrible, by the way. It was daylight earlier, but, you know, nature stuff, things go dark. So it's a spare iPhone light, but there we go. And yeah, forewarned, I don't know if I mentioned, now is about the time when my dog, who is currently sleeping, just decides to start barking at nothing. So if you hear a dog barking, just ignore him. Don't encourage him. It's bad news. So this is the pedal board that we're looking at. So it's the board itself is one of the Warwick rock boards. It's 4.1 if anyone is interested for size. And I've got a few bits and bobs going on here. And like I said, there's a ton of stuff you can do. So we've got Stomp XL. Well, signal, let's go with the signal. Signal comes in, hits an exotic wah, actually goes to a Keeley Red Dirt, the Thorpe Effects The Dane, which is killer, and then a way huge Geisha drive, which I think is just called the drive, and then goes into HX Stomp XL. And you'll see the thought process why this isn't in a loop at the moment, partially because of time and partially because of something else. I'm going to hit that real quick. And then HX Stomp XL. In the center return of loop 1, we have the Friedman small box pedal, which is a new thing for me, and yes, it's awesome. Now, I guess the question is, do I need all of these extra pedals? Of course I don't, but pedals are fun, right? So, you know, I like pedals. I have a little bit of a problem, but I wanted to incorporate some of my favorites, some of the stuff that isn't modeled within Helix as well. Certainly not at the moment, and kind of just give me some extra options basically. So that's the kind of thought process behind it. Let me go, there we go, look. I don't know if I can expand that. I can't expand that. Don't worry about it. So there we go. And then we've got 4 presets. I've kind of set up 4 main presets. Now these are going to be the kind of bread and butter stuff that I'm going to be using. Again, this is all personal. It's all very selfish. It's all about me. But this is kind of the reference point just to give you an idea of the thought process. And I won't get into kind of real crazy stuff with this, but I will show you how to build some slightly more interesting presets for, like I say, 4 cable method and extra pedals if you desire. So let me get rid of this and let me add, because it's difficult with the terrible light. Billy Crawford, yo, you have a bunch of musicians here. Most of us have hearing damage. Could you raise the volume a little on my voice or the guitar? Here's the guitar. That's the guitar. I can probably raise my voice. Give me 2 secs. Give me 2 seconds. Hopefully that's a little better. And yes, Billy, we do all have hearing damage. Mine's only mild, apparently. Voice, that's, yeah, there we go. Cool. Right, on to HX Edit. Right. So, yeah, you should see HX Edit there. Hopefully that is big enough on the screen. I don't have multiple screens here, so it's a bit of a pain. So yeah, there you can see what's going on. So, so we're coming into Helix after a few different pedals. Helix, HX Stomp, and then we are, yeah, you can see my mouse. Marvelous. So we're hitting, in this particular thing, we're hitting a couple of different drive pedals, the effects loop, an amp model, a reverb, and then we've got a couple of things in parallel. We've got a chorus and a delay, and then an EQ at the end. That is not engaged, and I will show you why shortly. So the amp model I'm using is the Cali, Texas Channel 1. Those are the settings. And that's kind of my personal go-to amp, because the amp that model's based on, which is the Boogie Lone Star, that was my main amp for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. So I kind of know it inside out, back to front. I know how it responds to pedals. And you will see maybe some questionable settings on some of these pedals when I flick back to the pedalboard, but that's how that amp reacts, and that's the kind of thing it needs to see. So I've got some snapshots set up here. So snapshot 1 is the Minotaur. Let me show you that real quick. Minotaur gains really low, turns up a little bit, levels up a bit. So it's just kind of giving a bit of a boost and tightening up that low end a little bit, because the Lone Star amps can be very bass heavy, but it's a weird bass, so when you roll that off it can kind of get thin, so there's this middle weird ground that you got to find. So this is the neck pickup, by the way. Let me hang on 2 secs. Right, that's the guitar I'm using. Ooh, that's lovely. Yamaha Pacifica 612V, completely stock. Only thing I've done, I've put bare knuckle True Grit pickups in there. 5-way selector, got a coil split on the bridge, and it sounds really nice. And this is kind of my main guitar for a wee while now. Let me get this right. There we go. That's better. Right. So you can see we've got yeah, the Minotaur going into the amp, and then a bit of room reverb just to cheer me up. Ryan, play Freebird. No. largely because I can't. I've never played it. Yes, Scott, beautiful guitar. So that is my clean sound. And what I like about this, it's kind of, this is sort of how I set all my snapshots or presets up, is transparent is probably the only way I can describe it. So to demonstrate, so there's a neck pickup. I go to the bridge pickup and dig in, it kind of crunches up. And here's the coil tap playing a little bit lightly. Kind of position 2. Sorry. Stop. That's as close as you're going to get to Freebird. Dudley Ross in the house. Hello, mate. So you can kind of hear, hopefully you can hear, I don't know how this is going to come across on Facebook or YouTube, but you can kind of hear that the pickups are the pickups. Again, neck pickup, bridge. Yes, I did, Scott. I went there. So you can hear, and if I pick another guitar up, you'll hear if it's P90s or hollow body or whatever. We love the Line 680 programs. They're really nice at the moment. They've always been nice, George. How very dare you. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I like icons and editors. I've got no life. Sorry. So that's my clean sound. So it's edge of breakup, and if I switch back to the pedal board real quick, we will add. Really bad at this. Sorry. Right, there we go. I don't know why this is weird. Sorry about that. So, well, actually, that's snapshot 1. Snapshot 2, that turns. I can't remember what I've done. There we go. So that turns off the monitor at the start. Turns on the loop, so the Friedman small box is engaged, and that sounds like that. So that's my kind of AC/DC level Malcolm Young, you know. Humbucker, neck. And it cleans up nice. So there's my two main sounds, clean and crunch. And then for snapshot 3, what do I put on? I put something else on. I put the air apparent on, of course. And you'll notice I don't use noise gates. A lot of people use noise gates. I don't know, I like the noise, but you can't hear it. When everything else is going on, I can't hear the noise, and I'm a little bit deaf, as someone maybe mentioned earlier. Andy Brown, Doc, how are you, mate? Product specialists in the house. Any questions, please fire away. I keep switching between screens and checking out the comments, so there we go. So I've got 3 core sounds: clean, crunch, and filthy. I like that. That covers a lot of ground. So you've got the 3 kind of main food groups in there. Within those 3 sounds, you'll notice, I don't know if you can see actually because the light's terrible. So we'll get into how to do this in a little while. This layout thing is awesome. So I've got 3 snapshots and then 3 instant access at the top. So I can go to my clean sound and split that and then add a chorus and a delay. The far right knob is the EQ. So what I do with the EQ, I don't sort of use it as there. Yes, there it is. It wasn't so much. It was kind of pulling me under. It wasn't very well played. So I use the EQ as a boost, and you can use a ton of different stuff as a boost. I use the low and high cut EQ because when I boost, I could kind of roll off a little bit of highs, tighten the low end up a little bit, and just give it a little bit more love as well as volume. So clean sound. With the boost. On a gainy sound, it sounds like that. Oh, that was a don't sweep. I'm so sorry, that was awful. So that's a straight one. So I find if you use just a gain block or anything like that, it can add high end because it's a full range, and what's the thing, Fletcher Munson and all that stuff. You can potentially run into shrill high end and all kind of weird stuff happening. So I use the EQ, boost the level 3-4 dB, whatever I need, roll off some of those highs and roll off some of those lows, and that works for me. It might work for you. Try it. So there we go. So that's the boost. So you'll see I've also got 3 extra drive pedals in there because why not? I'm an idiot. And a wah. So the wah. We got. I need to get another one of these big switches for this, but this is kind of the Keeley Red Dirt, sort of a tube screamery thing. This particular one is cool. I don't use it like a tube screamer. It's got boost mode in there, so it still tightens the low end up, but it's a little bit sparkly and a little bit cleaner. So it's more of a kind of a cleanish, dirty-ish boost. The Thorpe Dane has 2 sides, so the boost into the clean sound sounds like that, which is just really nice. 2 seconds. Coffee. It's just really nice, and this is a fairly significant boost. So. If you could kind of, I don't know if that's coming across or if it's getting compressed, but in the room, that's a good old lift, and it's essentially smashing the front end of the amp model, which would in turn in real life be a real amp. And like I said, kind of this particular model or this particular amp, the real amp, they respond really well to pedals, and it just breaks up. It doesn't get brittle or anything like that. It can get brighter, but it just works really well. Doesn't compress too much, so the boost is there, and that works on all 3 sounds. So the gainier sound. And then the super gainy sound. For the full shred. If you so fancy. And then the other side is a little bit dirtier. And it's kind of transparent, dirty-ish, does a thing. And then the way huge. It's a real gritty kind of drive on there. Even the drive is quite low, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The drive's kind of low, the level's up a bit, and it's kind of bright, almost fizzy, but it brings the kind of cheesy rock. So if you like your rock with hairspray and spandex, it does that really, really well. All that business. That on a slightly dirty sound. And that's it. So the concept with this is I've got 3 core sounds. I'll probably, for the third snapshot, I probably wouldn't use any extra drives because there's loads of gain. But you can if you want, if I put the way huge on there. Just all the gain. You know, it works on the crunchy sound. And then just for Scott. It does that sort of thing. So I've got 3 core sounds. I've got 3 extra drives that I can add in if I want to. I've got a chorus, I've got a delay, and then I've got a boost. So I can cover a lot of ground. And I like, personally, I like these extra drives here. It's a pedalboard. I'm a guitar player, so they're going to be in fairly constant rotation. The Dane will probably stay just because it's really versatile on its own. Maybe the way huge you get swapped out for something else. And maybe the red dirt will get swapped out for something else. Scott says, what chorus is that? That is it's just called the chorus. So the regular one. Oh, on Metropolis, I would hazard a guess it will, on the original, it's probably either like a tri-stereo chorus. It could be, I think he was using 2290s, TC 2290s at the time, so it could be the chorus in there, but it could also be a Dimension C. That is not dialed in for the track, by the way. That is just default. Call it up. That's the default setting. There's not a great deal in here that I've actually tweaked. So there we go. So you see the kind of the concept with this, and then that's going to cover me a lot of ground, right? And I can set different presets up as I have done. So if I just come out of there and go to the second preset, I've got basically the same thing. In fact, I'm going to just change this real quick. I'm going to change that for a phaser, and then I'm going to move it. I like this because this is how quick it is to do. So now I'm going to save that. So I've not completely transformed the sound. Default chorus, yes. So you got the 70s chorus and you got the plastic chorus and things like that. It's just called chorus. So if you go into your Helix or HX Stomp or Edit or whatever you native, whatever you're using. I'll show you. Shall I show you? Shall that be easier? Rather than me talking like a fool. I have saved that. There we go. It's that one. So it's the first one you come to. And they are the default settings. I've not changed a single thing. I do have it in parallel. I just find that works nicer for me. I don't know. Experiment. Before, after. Obviously before a dirty amp, it's going to be maybe a little bit weird, but it worked for Eddie, so yeah, why not? So next preset, there we go. So I've actually just tweaked this. So this is sort of where I'm using a utility drive within Helix on top of the other stuff as well. So come on, a snapshot thing. So the clean sounds the same. I can kick in a phaser now. Still got my delay and the boost. Snapshot 2 is still the Friedman. If I add the way huge and the phaser, it's Eddie. And yes, I know it wasn't a phaser. It's just for, you know, whatever. And that way huge into the Friedman or some kind of more British amp in a box kind of thing. It does that kind of Van Halen thing really well. Yeah, there we go. So on Snapshot 3, I have a fuzz, and it's very noisy at the moment. So this is kind of where I start getting into some of the stuff within HX Stomp. So I can mix and match drives, and yes, that means I've got 4 drive pedals on the pedal board, and then I'm using something in Helix, but I don't have a fuzz on the board. And I can, and I've got a big space. Where are we? Hang on, 2 secs. It's beautiful. And there were some friends commenting on Instagram earlier. Yes, there is a big space there. That is for something later. I don't know what yet, but there will be something. So I'm using the fuzz, and I am using the I don't know if it's technically supposed to be a fuzz. I need to speak to Ben about this. But it is the, I love this one. It's the, no, there it is. It's the KWB. Jeff, I am using the, what's it called? Cali, Texas, Channel 1. So it's a model of a Boogie Lone Star. And it's kind of set clean, but if you push it, then it gets dirty. So it's clean with a humbucker. So just kind of, it's nice and thick. I nearly said something that I won't. Sorry. So snapshot 1, snapshot 2 with the Friedman, and then snapshot 3 with the KWB, and it just does that. In fact, I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to crank the drive because I've got the controls and you don't. Yeah, it's noisy. Sorry everyone, you're going to have to deal with it. There we go. That just sounds, oh, it's just big and beefy. Pull the phaser on. so forth. Another preset, I use a different drive, so I'm using the Dyna drive, and it's the same 2 presets at the start, and then preset 3 is that particular pedal into the Friedman. And I'm kind of going for that sort of Eric Johnson-y. If John Cordy's watching, I'm so sorry. If Eric Johnson's watching, he won't. I'm very sorry. So that's kind of where we get a little bit more interesting. You'll see I've not actually, just these first 4 presets is what I've done earlier, and it's the same preset with some different stuff in. Except this one. So with this, what I've done, I've actually changed it up. So I'm using actually 2 different amps. So all the kind of post-amp stuff is the same. Can I shrink this so I can see both screens? Sorry, everyone. Kind of. I think he's going direct. I am going direct, but I am using an amp model. Right, so I've got the Minotaur because it's just a really nice boost. We've got the Friedman in the loop, and then we've got 2 different amps. So still got the Cali Texas, and we've got the A30 Fawn Bright. Room reverb again, chorus, all the good stuff. The room reverb is just to cheer me up. I generally don't use a lot of reverb unless it's a special effect, because I'm used to hearing an amp in the room. The room reverb, funnily enough, makes it sound more like I've got an amp in the room rather than going direct. I don't know. Does that make sense? Yeah. So 3 snapshots. So the Minotaur into the Lone Star model. And then same, but with the actually switching to the A30. That one. There's the settings for anyone that's curious. So that's kind of, again, set a little bit crunchy. And it's a different vibe. And then the Friedman into the A30. So a very different sound than going into the Lone Star model. Sorry, Mohammed, I can't read that. I do apologise. That's noisy again. There we go. So you can add kind of multiple amps and switch between those and still boost them with different things. If obviously, look, I'm sure this is nothing new to a lot of people, but there are maybe some people that kind of go, oh, I want to do this and that and the other, and that's absolutely fine. So that's how you do it. So you just put in, and you can do it a couple of different ways. I've got this assigned to snapshots to turn things on and off, but you can assign it to a foot switch and do it manually. However you want to set this thing up, you can, which is pretty cool. So if I go to, not that one, I'm going to go to a blank preset. So let's talk about 4 cable method after some coffee. That was a lot of coffee, big mug. I have a big mug full of coffee. I'm surprised my dog's not barked yet. This is good news. So I want to set something up for 4 cable method. This is what I love about not just Edit, but the whole Helix and HX interface. Just seen this come up. Hi Miles. Right. Let's bring that up for people to see. So complete newbie to modern digital effects. If I buy HX Stomp, will it be compatible with third-party patches or IRs such as Glenn DeLown? I'm sorry, Glenn, if you're watching. That was awful. All I want to do is emulate specific artists and tracks. Yes, if someone has created a preset for Helix, there we go. If someone's created a preset for Helix and it fits within the 8 blocks within Stomp or Stomp XL, yeah, you can just drag and load it in. The IRs, you will need to have that particular, if a preset is created with an IR and you load that in, that IR will only be loaded up if you have that IR. So yeah, if you've bought a preset pack or just a single preset, make sure you've got the relevant IR to go with it, or you have something in the ballpark. But yes, if you have presets and they fit within 8 blocks, yes, you can absolutely do that. There we go. Right. Where were we? We were there. So 4 cable method. So, and this is kind of how I've designed this board to work, is I can be really lazy one day and I go to the gig and I don't want to take an amp or a power cab or whatever. I'm just using ears, or it's got to be a silent stage, and I want to use the board straight into the desk. Fine, no problem. I can do that. But if I want to use an amp, and I've not cabled this up properly yet, but I've got a little kind of interface on the back that I've not shown you, but it's boring. And it's got lots of ins and outs, so I can actually kind of pre-wire this to do 4 cable method, among other things. So let's build a preset for 4 cable method. So as I was saying, I love the HX and the Helix interface and edit, because you can just see what's going on. So the guitar comes in, there's my main out, so I want to add some stuff in here. Again, for experienced users, this is nothing new. You can go and make a brew for a second. But for new guys, this might be interesting. So if you have an amp, you know, you've spent the $200,000 or whatever they're going for now on a Dumble, and you want to use HX with it, absolutely fine. You can do that. So we need to add a loop. So I'm going to go in and let's say effects loop right. So now what's happening is the guitar's coming in, the effects loop, this is a send and return. So the guitar's coming in, whatever, it's going nowhere at the moment, and then that's going to go out to the front of the amp, and then the amp effects loop send is going to come back into that return, and then everything in, and then that goes back to the amp effects loop return. So everything in here is effects loop effects, and everything in here goes in the front, and it's as simple as that. Now remember, I've got my new favorite drive pedal that I want to incorporate. So that's effects loop right. I'm going to put another loop there. So there's my Friedman small box pedal. And you can assign it to switches and do all that good stuff. Here's a really cool trick with 4 cable method. And this is what, again, this is why I absolutely love this. So bear in mind, so this isn't active at the moment, but this is a send and return. So imagine this is distortion pedal. I'm going to do that, right? That is my my Friedman small box. Imagine that. Use your imagination. It's a good thing. And then the guitar is coming out of HX Stomp or Helix or whatever to the front of the amp. Now that is going to the effects loop return. So basically the power amp section. Here's a cool thing. So I can do this. Let's say I've got an American style amp, and I quite fancy that, right? So the Brit 2204, it's a model of a JCM 800, and it's kind of a specific sound. Turn that off. Turn that off. So the moment guitar's coming in, it's going through nothing. Now I could use that preamp, and that's just, you'll notice that's just the preamp section, it's not the full amp. I could just use that preamp as a stomp box, right? So I could actually put that into the front of the amp and get, you know, a JCM 800 in a box kind of sound. It won't sound perfect, but it does work. So if you're after, you know, people look for amp in the box pedals, and I've got one on the board, you know, the Friedman small box. It's designed to emulate the Friedman small box amp, which we don't model, but it's a cool pedal. So I can kind of get a Marshall in a box or a Vox in a box or got to be a song in there. Vox in a Box. And put that into the front of my tube amp or whatever. But here's the thing. If I actually assign this and this to the same pedal, let me do that real quick. Oops. There we go. Boom. And then boom. I can do this in edit, by the way, just there, which would have been so much easier. So it don't matter. So that's assigned to 1 foot switch. So if I hit that switch, you'll see, better view, you'll see that's going to toggle between the loop being on and the preamp being on. What that means is when I have that effects loop turned off, the guitar's going and it's hitting that, but it's not going to the front of the amp anymore. It's going into the power amp, right? So that is the output to the power amp, and obviously I might have a reverb in there, and I might have a delay in there. I'm going to pull that there, because why not? I get asked this a lot, actually. Why do I put delays and actually reverbs and various things in parallel? The difference between series and parallel, right? So at the moment, everything is going through these effects, and you do have a mix control and all that business. But everything is going through. So if I do that, my dry signal is there. So that dry signal is always present. And I'm having these effects in parallel, and it can be whatever. But having those effects in parallel, I'm adding that effect to the sound rather than the sound going through the effect. Hopefully, let's see if I can demonstrate real quick. Might. Before I do that, that's 4-cable method, basically, and that's a cool trick you can do where actually you're switching out the front of the amp, you're bypassing the front of the amp and going into the power amp with one of the preamps in Helix and completely transform the amp sound, which is cool. We like that. So let me do this. So if I put those there, so this is with the delay in series. Maybe get some dirt on that. Delays there, sounds great. Here's the difference. Put that in parallel. It's still there, it's still very audible, but the difference is it's kind of getting out of the way, and that dry guitar sound is just there, and it's a lot clearer sounding. There's no right or wrong with this. That's the kind of thing I prefer. Try it, and you can do other cool stuff. There's actually, if you check out the HX Stomp XL launch video with the fabulous and beautiful Mr. Paul Marsh, he does a really cool trick, which I won't attempt to do because I'm terrible. I'm just, you'll notice none of these presets are particularly interesting. I'm kind of bread and butter stuff, and you know, your 3 or 4 major food groups of tone, and that's me. But Paul does a really cool thing where I actually, in parallel, you can set the delay 100% wet, and actually kind of, so the signal goes in, and you don't hear the signal until it repeats, and then put that repeat into a synth. So you play something, and then the repeat is a synth. Go and check out Paul Marsh's video on the HX Stomp XL, the launch vid. It's awesome. It's really cool. So you can do some interesting stuff with the parallel routing things. So that's the difference between kind of series and parallel. Did I have anything else? No, that's that. Right. Why would I put something in the loop and not in the loop? I think I covered this earlier, but just in case anyone missed it, I've kind of got my core sounds, everything I want in one of the effects loop, and I can add another effects loop. If I was only ever going to go direct with this, then I can do that. But the way I've got it, I want to be able to do 4-cable method, and I want to be able to potentially audition different pedals as well. So with that loop, I can just add another pedal in there. Like I said, I've still got some cabling to do, but yeah, it's all good. You can't see this, so let me get rid of this. Go back to the camera. There we go. Boom. Right. I'll put that full screen. That doesn't make any difference whatsoever. No. I don't know why that's doing that. Apologies. So, change the view. So again, you'll see on various videos and whatever, kind of some operations and some reasons why HX Stomp exists and everything. And like I say, Stomp XL works for. There's my dog. Stomp XL works for me because of the extra buttons. What is really, really cool and what I personally love about something that we introduced with 3.0 was the command center feature. Hopefully you can't hear him. He's just, I tell you what he's barking at. He's barking at nothing. He's literally, he's barking at the garden. There you go. So the command center function. So traditionally, if I go to another preset that isn't set up. So your layout is bank up and down, and obviously if you hold those, you can get preset up and down, you get snapshot up and down. If you tap them, then you can get snapshots and all that. Go to a preset, hit the mode button, and traditionally the 6 boxes or whatever you can't. I don't know if you can you see that? Let me turn this light off. No, you can't see it. Not very well anyway. Tell you what. Oh, it's going to be... No, that won't work because my cable's not long enough. Oh, disaster. So there's 6 blocks, 6 boxes. That can be... yeah, you can hear Scott. Sorry, he's an odd dog. There we go. 6 blocks, right. 6 switches, 6 blocks. So they're your stop boxes, right? Or amps or whatever. So you assign stuff to them. Now, whilst you can assign multiple things to one switch, so you could say, you could actually do the amp with the booster and then switch off the booster, switch to another amp and switch another pedal on if you wanted to. Obviously you can do that with snapshots. If you're not familiar with snapshots and why they're so cool, because you're new to this, and there was a gentleman earlier, Miles, yeah, cool. So HX Stomp will do this, Helix will do this, HX Stomp XL will do this, HX Effects, all the Helix family. We have this thing called snapshots. It's a preset within a preset, right? And we've covered this in various other videos, so do go and check them out. You turn multiple things on and off within a preset. It's seamless. You get delay trails, you get reverb trails, and you can actually change parameters as well. Now, I like snapshots, and it's really cool. But the traditional layout, so if I do that, hit the up and down buttons together, I've got 4 snapshots. This is the cool thing with Stomp XL. You actually get 4 snapshots to program in. Hit the mode button, goes back to presets. Now, I don't want that. I'm used to using a certain system where I can just program it exactly how I want. And you know, I want this button to do this, and this button to do this, and this button to do this. This is 3.0 Command Center. It's awesome. So how I've set this up, and this is per preset, by the way. So if I want to go to one preset and just have 4 snapshots, then I can do that. If I just want Stompbox mode, I can do that. Generally, I kind of want my 3 core sounds and then add stuff to that. So if I hit the mode button, you'll see what I've set up here, or maybe not. No, you can't see that. Well, no, that doesn't make any difference. Sorry, everyone. Terrible lighting, terrible camera. No. See it, okay. So basically, I've set this up. So I've got, on these 3 buttons, I've got snapshots 1, 2, and 3, and then I've got instant access to a chorus, a delay, and my boost, because they're the things that I want to add to, you know, I could be rocking away on a clean sound, but then maybe the singer turns to me and says, take a solo. So, oh, I need to hit my boost. Whatever. So I need access to any of those sounds. If I'm kind of, you know, rocking the dirt, I can have my chorus, or I want a solo on the clean sound, and I want some delay. So I've got three effects that I can add to any of them, like the external drive pedals as well. Obviously more of a utility thing with HX. And I can just do whatever. So I like that. So in Command Center, and I won't do it because you can't see it, but I'll do it a little bit. So if you you go 3 lines, so you hit the page left and right together, and then hit the Command Center button, you actually get the layout here. So you've got your lightning bolts, which are your instant commands when you go to a preset, and then you've got your buttons. So you select the button, and you tell it what you want it to do. And this is beautiful because it means that I can, let's say I'm going to use 2 sounds, and then I want a snapshot 1, snapshot 2, and then I want a boost there. So I want clean, crunch, and then in either of those I just want to add a boost to that pedal. I can do that, and then that I want it to go to a specific preset for the next track, and then that I want delay, but that I'm running Ableton, or I'm running some kind of sequencing program, so I can actually assign that to send a MIDI message or a hotkey gesture, I think that's the right word, to my computer, because I'm hooked up through USB or whatever, and that will send a MIDI message and trigger the start button, or the start and stop, or whatever. So you can lay it out and do some really cool stuff using the Command Center. I love that, and big thanks to the wonderful Helix team and HX family team for putting that in there, because it just makes life easier. It just means you're not limited, and it's real quick to just get out of that. So go away. Yeah, and actually view-wise, I kind of sometimes like seeing this, so I can this view. So that's the signal view, so I can see what's on and off. Hit the mode button. There's my Stompbox mode, and I can see that because these are color-coded, which is pointless for me because I'm colorblind. But there we go. So I know that's a modulation. I know that's a delay. I know that's the boost because I programmed it. Hit the mode button again. You go to preset mode, so I can go to the next preset and the next. Hit mode, and then I'm back to snapshot mode. But I want that one. Obviously, the view button gives you access to either presets or snapshots or whatever. And you got them. I like that. That, I think, is about it. Are there any more questions? Please, ladies and gentlemen. Barry? What about me? What? Ladies and gentlemen, Scotsman in the house. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's kind of how I built a pedalboard around HX Stomp XL. It's cool. I'm really looking forward to gigging it. And that's kind of, you know, I guess why I've built yet another pedalboard, because hopefully gigs are going to happen soon. And I've just got Stomp XL, and I think it's really cool. So I wanted to use it and figure out how I would use it. That's kind of how I would use it. So it's HX Stomp. It's some stuff in the front that I could just access at any point in time. And 3 snapshots, clean, dirty, filthy. Some instant access. There we go. I'll program presets for 4 cable method for when I want to use an amp. I'll do stuff for if I want to go into the power amp or use a power amp and a cab. I'll also do stuff for using with power cab as well. Alan, just bought Helix LT, trying to learn it. Love the sound so far. Yes, well done. Congratulations. LT is awesome. There we go. I think that's it, ladies and gents. Probably just gents. Let's be fair. Alan, gigs live. So yes, let's hope so. I've got some in the diary. Let's see if they come off. Eros, totally unrelated. Do you know if anything's happening with Variax? Well, I've got a Variax there, and it's really cool. No, I do not. I do not. I kind of sit in my little studio here and do stuff like this. So no, I don't know. If you've got ideas for Variax or Helix or PodGo or anything like that, go check out the ideas scale. Yeah, some cool stuff on there. And also put your own ideas up and people vote them. There we go. That's about me, because I'm just waffling now. I'm just talking absolute rubbish. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. We've been going in it. Thanks for everyone that's been here from the beginning. Scott, I know you were here earlier. Thanks, and everyone else. I'll keep an eye on both Facebook and YouTube and see if there's any more comments that come in or questions, and I will try and answer them. There we go. That's about me. Go and build a pedalboard, because gigs are coming back and pedalboards are cool. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Have a great day. Oh, hang on. Where is the idea board? I will post a link for live. Have you used or like to use the Helix for acoustic as well? Great question, Alan. Yes, I have. A cool thing, like I did with that 4 cable method with Helix Floor, what I was doing 4 cable method and actually sending a feed off to the preamp was feeding one of the built-on cab models, and that was going to front of house, so I didn't actually have to mic the amp up, which was a cool idea I came up with, and it worked really well. And then I had a separate preset because I was already connected to the PA. I just went to that preset for the acoustic and job done. I did use an acoustic IR for the guitar I was using. I put that the mix down, and that worked great. But yeah, absolutely. I've done acoustic gigs with full Helix as well, and yeah, it works great for acoustic. And obviously, you've got all the stuff, and you can do some kind of real nice things as well as some wacky things. If you want to put your acoustic through a model of a Marshall stack, then you can do that. But yes, waffling. Yes, use acoustic with Helix or Stomp or whatever. There we go. Any more questions coming in? This is the thing, because there is a delay on this, I kind of ask a question and then I have to wait a minute and then fill in the awkward silence. Because I could just sit there going, let's read the comments. Simplify my rigs to not carry so much to the shows. Absolutely, and you know what? I've kind of done that myself. My last pedalboard was just mental. I had a switching system and an HX Stomp and like 6 drive pedals. Before that, it was HX Effects and an even bigger board. And I've used full Helix with external pedals as well, and obviously that, you know, Helix Floor or LT is about the size of, it's the size of this pedalboard, give or take. So yeah, it can get real big. You don't need external pedals. You absolutely don't need them. But like I said earlier, pedals are fun, so why not? But yeah, you can absolutely simplify it. If you really want to simplify it, you can look at something like the Stomp XL, because now you've got the switching options. You don't need anything extra. You can program everything. It's just really cool, so it's well worth looking at. Michael, when's it hit stores in Europe? I don't know, is the honest answer. Soon, hopefully soon. I'd love to give you a date, but I won't even guess, because then I'll probably be wrong. Paul Morgan, any use on Helix floor, Helix 2? Nope, no, Paul. We've got stuff planned for Helix floor, firmware updates that are going to be crazy. So if you've got one, keep your eyes out. And this is the beautiful thing, like when we do a firmware update, yeah, we'll add, sometimes it's just to sort little bugs out, but if we do a major one, we'll add different models, but we'll also add different functionality. So it's really interesting actually, if you're relatively new to Helix floor or rack, or you've had it maybe for a year or two, if you actually go and roll back to the very first version, the very first version of the firmware, you'll see how far we've come. There were no snapshots. There was like a third of the models in there or something. I just picked a number out. It's probably more or less than that, I don't know. But you'll see that we don't just add models, we add functionality and we add all sorts of cool stuff as well. So yeah, certainly for now, we don't need to do anything with hardware. It's just the amount of stuff that we've still got left to do with firmware is going to be crazy. And yeah, keep your eyes out. Some great things planned. Can't wait for the updates. Love 3.0, yeah, man. The updates are going to keep coming. We're always working on stuff, so there we go. Can you update us on the G10 charging issue? After software update, the lifespan is nearly unusable live, getting about 2 to 3 hours after a full charge. If you're struggling, Barry, if it's really affected it, go to Line 6 support and open a ticket, and those guys will kind of help you out and take you through what's what. If something has, happened to it during the update, those guys will know what to do, basically. I do not. Line 6 support, open a ticket, those guys will sort you out. Yeah, cool, brilliant. Right, I'm waffling again. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. There's more of these coming. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ta.